Yo, what's up, YouTube? It is Thrift Hunter here, and I'm going to talk about my experience on Amazon this year. Looking at an amber necklace right now, though, real quick, 62 grams. Ooh, it looks nice. $830 though. It's not crazy money, but all right, let's make an offer of like $450. I don't know. So I want to talk about my experience with Amazon and how it's gone for the first year. Yeah, so we're closing out Q4. It's been a nice year. I've learned a lot from the Amazon community, and let's go ahead and get into it about how I got started. Basically, if you guys sell on eBay, I've been an eBay seller for like 12, 13 years, and what happens on eBay is it's typically kind of slow during certain seasons and certain times of the year, certain days of the week, right? Like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday has always been pretty slow on eBay. It's very much more active on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday because all of the postal service and all the packages come in on Monday, and a lot of stores do their restocks on Monday and whatever. So I was basically not very busy on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I needed something to do other than just eBay. So what I started looking into was ways to do just different kinds of e-commerce, and what I found was Amazon. All right, so just to get to the point. Um, so I found some different Amazon Discords, some different Amazon YouTube shows, and I watched a bunch of them and decided I wanted to try doing Amazon. So I started Amazon, I created an account, right? Got everything hooked up. Then I started trying to sell, and then the first thing you realize when you're a brand new Amazon seller is you can't sell a lot of things. So they actually restrict you or gate you on what you're allowed to sell. And so I would say after that, I pretty much stopped Amazon for like 2 or 3 months. This would be back in like November, September, November of last year, September, October of last year. I stopped because you eventually you just hit this roadblock right at the gate with Amazon, which is kind of unfortunate, right? eBay is very much like friendly to newer sellers, and you can just go on and list things and post them, and they might hold your money, but they're not going to prevent you from listing an item, right? Like that doesn't make any sense coming from eBay. But then you start learning about all these things with Amazon is there are, you're selling on somebody else's like intellectual property, right? You're selling their brand, their stuff, right, on Amazon's listings. And so um, you have to follow certain guidelines for supply chain. So you start learning these things. So I stop Amazon, then I started up again, and I just am kind of captivated by the whole FBA dream, right? So FBA is where you send in all of your product to Amazon and then Amazon fulfills it, right, for you, and they handle customer service for you and whatever, and they charge a fee, but it's not too bad, right? So the dream is like, okay, cool. This is going to be like passive income where I just buy a big deal, I, pack it all up, I send it all to Amazon and I'm done, right? And then all the money just comes pouring in, and that's how it works. Well, it turns out that Amazon FBA doesn't work that way at all. And FBA is actually not very beginner friendly either. It's not really what you want to get started with. I didn't know that at the time, but as I got started with Amazon, is it was pretty much um, let's just try and get something moving, right? This is how you get started with a business, a new business idea. Of course, I've been selling a long time, so I kind of know what's up. But we just need to get something moving. So I find a deal, right? I plan to get ungated for it, and this one is one of the auto ungated brands. We find it profitable. we find a good supplier for it, and then we send in. So I buy 5 units, right, of this product, and I send it in FBA, and then to spoil the story for those that don't know, is basically everything just sat there, like nothing happens, right? You send you see you figure out how to set up your printer, you figure out how to do the FBA labels, the FN SKUs, you figure out how to do bundles, how to like pack everything, right? This could take you a couple of weeks to get your first 5 products in, your first 5 units in, right, to FBA, and you send it, and then nothing happens for like months, and then eventually it checks in, and then most likely, if you're priced right, if you're really eager in the beginning, you're going to price at the low, and your FBA on the lowest price, so you're actually just going to sell out in like 30 minutes or something, which you don't realize as a beginner is like you send in all this stuff FBA, and then it takes months to get there, and then it sells out in 30 seconds, and you're like, oh, all right, well, that was interesting, right? How do I make a business off of this? Obviously, I need to send more, right? Because oh, it just sold instantly. This is like free money. I just need to send more now, right? So then you kind of get onto this wave of you think you're going to sell more. So then you buy another deal, and then the next deal I buy, I'm gated for it, but I'm like, cool, I'm going to buy 10 units and get ungated for it. Well, um, with Amazon, crazy things can happen. And so you could get ungated for it, and then you go to send it in, and then all of a sudden you could just be gated for it again, and they won't let you send it or whatever. So I forget what happened with the first deal, with this first like bigger deal, but basically the whole brand or the whole category got regated. So it got shut down to where you were not allowed to sell it anymore. So I had like $700 or $800 worth of product that I could now no longer sell on Amazon. Was in this case it was a cosmetic or something like a lotion or something that I originally tried to sell, and you couldn't sell it on eBay for a profit, right? Because cosmetics just don't really hold good value on this secondary market. You got to sell it as brand new through Amazon. That's where the customers were for this type of product. And that was a big setback. But I'm like, whatever. I'm going to just eat the loss, push on, and try again with something else. Right. I try again with something else. I think this time I go with like a vitamin, some kind of vitamin supplement. Well, for those of you that were selling last like November, December, they Amazon restricted the entire supplement category, vitamin category. So now all of that product was now dead in the water as well. Couldn't sell it. So I went down probably in the very beginning, like maybe 2,500 bucks, something like that, which is huge for somebody starting out a business. So that would be like my first little bit of advice is when getting started. Make sure you're ungated and make sure you're in a category that's like very simple. Start very, very small. Toothpaste, toilet paper, paper towels, like something very, very, very basic. Sharpies, whatever. Like don't do anything too crazy when you're first starting out. You just want to get the systems down, because Amazon, it turns out, and retail in general is a very much like a big volume game, and it's very much a low margin game, a very very high volume, very systems oriented business. And so as soon as you start trying to get wild with Amazon, you're gonna get shut down. Like you're just gonna get smacked as soon as like Amazon does not play. When they don't play with your suppliers being wonky, they don't play with your labeling being bad. They don't you can't overweight your boxes, like nothing. Everything is very 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 strict, and the whole idea behind Amazon is like this very uniform customer experience. And so you learn that as you go on. But after the first couple of deals, they all don't work, don't work, don't work. Then I finally get something that works, which is I don't know. I think it was like a CVS branded product, which is like very, very, very beginner friendly. definitely the type of product you want to start with is like like a generics, not a generic because you can't sell generic, but like a store brand that you're allowed to sell on Amazon that doesn't have any problems. It has a lot of decent amount of sellers on it. Like so this was just a product. CVS does like a buy one get one half off sale every once in a while, but every once in a while they do a buy one get one free sale. So I bought this with the buy one get one free, some coupons, and it was a very nice deal. And we finally start selling this product. And at this point, I start doing some FBM on the product. So I recommend that everybody does FBM in the beginning. FBM is fulfilled by merchant. It just means it's fulfilled by you. You ship it directly to your customer instead of shipping it to Amazon. It's just much faster. You get much more feedback. When you're in the very beginning, you want to be just testing everything. Even still, I still just want to be testing everything all the time. And so that's how you're gonna learn quicker and easier. It's just starting out FBM. Just trust me on it. I know FBA sounds like a dream because you can just send stuff in and hands off after that, but it's just not how it works. You really want a blended version. I would say like half FBA, half FBM. It's like pretty comfortable. But anyway, let's just get to the point where we start scaling a little bit. We start getting some products going, right? I start testing a lot of products. I start getting into major retailers, Walmart, Target, Kohl's, right? The big like OA, online arbitrage fundamentals is like your big retailers. And I start getting into some of these products, right? So whatever, toys and a lot of clothing in the beginning, shoes, like little household products, toasters, whatever, right? You start in the beginning with these retailers. That starts going great. It's beginning of Q4 last year, and I'm going bananas, just replanting stuff, finding deals, buying 5, 10 units, right, of deals. Everything's going pretty good, right? Then January hits, and for those that don't know, January is return season on Amazon. Get hit with a bunch of returns. Um, business slows down in January. It's just, obviously Q4 Christmas rush is where all the sales are made. January, things start to fall off. There's not as many deals. Retailers don't have much stock. They're all doing resets. Like, it's just a slow time in January. But I'm still doing pretty well with my replans. I got my couple of products that are doing well. I'm learning the system, how to read Keepa graphs, how to work seller ramp, how to start dialing in your inbound settings, right? How to start factoring in all of your shipping costs. Very, very, very much a systems game in Amazon. You want to keep building your systems. Then I start ordering more, right? Naturally, you start doing well, you start selling some stuff, you start ordering more. So now I'm starting to go from 10 units to 20 units, 30 units, right? Now I start getting order cancels. Uh-oh. What's an order cancel? So we've had, starting in the beginning, you get gated and you get restricted. So you have that setback, you lose some money there. Then you got to switch from FBA to FBM, and then you finally start moving some product and you're really happy about it. Then you start to try and scale a little bit. And you start getting order canceled. Uh-oh, like these retailers don't like or don't allow or whatever business size orders. Like as soon as you start trying to order from, let's say, PetSmart, and you want 50 dog toys, they ban your account. Like you're just cooked, right? They're just gonna blast you because nobody's ordering 50 dog toys for their dog. Like it's just, I mean, maybe some people out there are, but it's just not happening with with those kind of order sizes. And these automated detection systems can find that out right away. Not only that, they're going to find out that you're using all your cashback software, all these little refreshers and pingers and whatever that you're using. These companies are going to track that, and you're going to get flagged as a buyer, right? Like as a business buyer, a flipper, whatever. They're immediately going to flag you. And so I go on this run of just getting banned from everywhere. I mean, I'm still banned from probably 30 retailers, like tons of them, right? So you end up getting banned all over the place. Very, very, very difficult spot because you're trying to do deals, you're trying to buy volume, you're trying to make your money, but you're learning that all of these private label brands, all of these whatever branded websites, retailers, they don't like resellers, and you're gonna find that out pretty quick in the old Amazon game. So what do you do? Well, it almost forces you to buy from places that don't cancel, right? So like you're gonna get into the spot where you're only left with so many places you're allowed to buy from that are gonna give you legitimate receipts or invoices with everything itemized that Amazon's gonna accept. Um, and okay, cool. So eventually, let's say around May, June, things start picking up. I start getting more sales. I start finding the products that work better, that I don't get destroyed on. And from there, things go pretty well, except um, the number of acceptable deals starts to close in a little bit as you start to scale. So all of a sudden, the deals I was doing before, where I could buy two or three or four or units and buy all the variations and this and that, those deals kind of start to dry up because they just don't fit the volume that you need to make a good living. You got to pay for all these fees and shipping costs and all this whatever, and you're not going to make enough on 10 units. It stops working after a certain point. You need to start moving into the 50, 100, 500, 1,000 units. And once you start moving into that area, your deals that are available to you really start to close off. And so what you end up having to do is when you do find a good deal, you got to go big, and you got to go big out the gate. So that's what has changed since I started is now you pretty much see the same deal, but instead of trying to buy one or five or 10 or 20, you try and every single time you see a deal, you try and buy all of it. Whatever they'll let you get, you try and get all of it. And that's the difference when you start to scale. And that's what's made the difference for me in my numbers is instead of going after 600 different items, 700 different items, buying 5, 10 of each, buying from 50 different retailers, buying, like all this crazy stuff, you really start to focus on like, okay, when I see what looks like a deal to me and I get a good feeling about it, and it's like, okay, this looks like 50% ROI. We're looking at $7 profit a unit. Like the listing's moving 200, 300 times a month. Like, I don't think that many people can find this deal. It's going to add a stock, whatever. Like you start finding these deals, and now all of a sudden it turns into we need to buy all of it. Every single time we see a deal, it's we buy all of it, not like a couple. And so what does that look like? Well, it looks different for every deal. A lot of the times you still can't get that much. So even when you're early to a deal and you found a good retailer that doesn't really cancel you or doesn't cancel at all, right? Like there's some big retailers that they don't care how much you order. You'll start out of stocking retailers. And that's a lot of where the problem is now is you find a great deal, whatever. Let's say you find a deal that is $100 profit a unit and it sells tons of times and the retailer doesn't cancel you. You found everything, right? You found a crazy deal. You want to buy all of it on the planet, right? Turns out the retailers don't have that much of that stuff. That's what it's like. You can add a stock. You think, oh, you can't add a stock of Walmart. Sure, you can. Walmart doesn't have unlimited stock of things. You start learning how this retail game really goes. It's like, oh, well, Walmart's buying by the container. Well, when something sells 30,000 times a month on Amazon, a container doesn't last that long. You start to learn that type of thing. So that's kind of the progression is you start to change how your business model is. And right now, I would say I'm still FBM a lot on a lot of stuff, right? Because the money moves so much quicker FBM. So when you start getting into scale, like right now, I'll tell you, my biggest plan right now is to raise as much cash as possible because December 26th is going to be gift card season. And what that means for those who have never heard of this, uh, as soon as Christmas is over, right? The retailers don't have deals anymore. The hype is over. Everybody's got their gifts, right? Whatever, whatever, whatever. People get a lot of gift cards, and a lot of the times, um, kids or even adults aren't that like they just don't care about a gift card, right? A gift card doesn't really seem like money to a lot of people for whatever reason. And so, I used to even think this way before I knew about retail, but let's say you get a $50 gift card for Christmas and you don't shop at Best Buy. You don't need anything from Best Buy. You don't need a computer, you don't need speakers, you don't need headphones, you don't need whatever, and you don't want this gift card. Well, what do you do with it? Like, do you let it live in a drawer forever or do you try and get some money for it? So a lot of times what ends up happening is people sell their gift cards. And there are a couple of different exchanges online that you can post your gift card. And those will have a market rate for those gift cards. Well, what happens is December 26th, all the gift cards like get flooded on the market. And so what I do is I try and go buy as many as I can at the biggest discount possible because as a big spender at retailers, we need maybe $100,000 worth of gift cards, maybe more. I mean, if you really wanted to optimize your business as good as possible, you would almost want to buy enough gift cards to complete your entire spending for the year. I don't know how many businesses are actually doing that, but I may want $1 million worth of gift cards, right? To be like optimal. I can't actually do that. But something to note is like that's part of the rotation of the Amazon cycle too. When you're a big buyer, is you want to get as much of an advantage on your competition as possible, and gift card percentages is a big deal for if you're buying from any kind of retailer. Now, going forward into next year, so we've done I don't know what I'm at year to date right now. Let's check. Can I check? Does it say? Go to sales dashboard. Okay, so my sales to date are, let's see, year to date. We'll do year to date. Are 507,000 in sales. So we can go over the numbers because I'm sure like that's probably the only thing most people are going to care about in this video. Even though it's really dumb, like Amazon numbers are freaking whatever. They're make believe, right? So for those of you who care about all the numbers, you're weird. Okay, just get over how much I make or whatever. Okay, just get over it. Anyway, $507,000 in sales. I don't know, net margin. After all my expenses, software, employees, all this whatever storage units, all this crap I have. I don't know. Maybe I make 12% on it. That's pretty reasonable. So that's I don't know, 60,000 for the year on Amazon, roughly. Okay. And then that's still gonna be pre-tax. So 60K pre-tax on 500K in sales. Eh, that's probably pretty reasonable. Maybe it's a little bit better. I don't know. I haven't run all my numbers, but that seems like in the region, right? And that's retail. Like that's really what it looks like for those kind of numbers. And really, um, that's with me starting brand new. So I'm still blown away because I started this thinking if I could sell a couple thousand a month, I'd be happy. So last month was 87,000 or something in sales, and I was expecting a couple thousand a month. And we've just completely obliterated that, selling on Walmart, eBay, everywhere these days. Um, so those are the numbers for the year. What are we looking at going forward? Probably a lot more of the same. Basically, systems, 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 and more systems is how you get better and better and better at Amazon. That's just going to be basically how can you do this job with spending like the least amount of hours on it, the least amount of work on it, and make the most amount of money because like you need a good deal to run. You need you need a way to handle the bulk volume of product, right? Whether that be a really, really good prep center or whether that be really good employees or hiring more employees. Like my whole thing going forward is going to be systems. That's going to be AI software systems, employee systems, shipping carriers, negotiating with my shipping carriers, making sure I'm getting the best rates on everything because shipping costs are a lot, trying to move more of the business off Amazon because Amazon fees are pretty high. Obviously, moving as much of the product as you can to lower cost, lower fee marketplaces like TikTok or Instagram or local Facebook or whatever. So we'll definitely be moving in that direction. After that, after arbitrage and everything like that, as long as we max out, as long as I get to the point where I feel like I'm maxing out arbitrage, and that would be retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, like all of my softwares. Like if I feel really, really good about that being maxed out, which right now I don't, um, we will start moving more into wholesale. We'll start doing more wholesale, more potentially liquidation as well, is another big one. Like I'm just at this point where I'm gonna start needing pallets of product, like just regardless. Like I just found a deal a few days ago that to really run the deal properly, you would need a a pallet or two of the product. You couldn't do the deal properly without a couple pallets. Like and so I'm getting to that point where that's where I really want to be, except we're just not really pushing obviously from my numbers enough profit to really push into warehousing or um, a lot more employees or whatever. It's just not really feasible quite yet. But again, my first year in the business, right? The first 3 or 4 months of the year were not very good. So if we can get our numbers to be a lot more stable over next year and grow again and be more ready for Q4 again, continue to develop those systems because people don't realize like exactly what moving truckloads of product looks like. It's very, very physically demanding because you have to move 200, 300, 400 pounds of product up and down wherever, where getting it from one place to the other, loading trucks. There's a lot more physical nature to moving a bunch of product, FBM especially, which currently is the only model I can really do just by design because I don't have the capital to send in 3 months, 4 months worth of FBA product at a single time because that would look like 300 to $400,000 in cash that you would have to put up to have a moderately scaled FBA business. You would need to put up a lot of capital. Not that I'm really afraid to do it on like my business line, a credit or a Amex credit card or whatever. If I could work out like a really proper loan structure, I would maybe consider it. Basically, like an inventory based loan structure. I would consider going more full scale into FBA, which would probably be something I would want to move into next year potentially. Um, but we do have to consider all of the growing pains. It's just people want to go. I want to go from 1 million to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 million in sales next year. But as soon as you start to scale those things up, you start running into issues of having enough boxes, having enough like supplies to run things the way you want to run it without running too much risk. Because your risk will go up as your deals get bigger too. You start buying containers worth of product or whatever that may be. The deals get riskier, so you have to scale by step. At least for me, I'm not the biggest. I don't have the biggest risk appetite in the world. Um, let's see if I can buy this little gold necklace here. $780. Let's see. And it scraps for 872. Can I get this one or is it gone? Let's see. Hey, it looks like we got it. 10 karat gold link necklace. Yeah, 10 karat gold necklace, 15 grams, $780, and currently scraps at 872. So we've got a 89.5% buy price. It's pretty good. As long as the price of gold and silver holds up. So yeah, that was just my short little video about how I went from 0 to 500K in sales on Amazon. Very doable. If you want to learn any more about any of that, I do have a Skool program. No need to join if you don't want to, but it's there if you want to learn. I can show you how to do the exact same thing. I've been in business for almost 15 years. I've sold over 1 million on eBay. I've sold over 500K on Amazon. So if you want to learn more about that, we don't have a bunch of people in our group. I talk daily with a couple of guys, and we go over deals, and we go over strategies, and we learn from each other. Everybody's got a different niche, a different category, but there's not too many people really out here hustling. I put in the beginning of Amazon about 15 hours a day for 6 months straight and lost money through most of it. And because I had this other business, and because I've been through the whole business process before, I knew, not to give up, and that there would be something at the end of the tunnel. Not that I've made a bunch of money this year or anything either, but it's just let's see if I can get. There's more gold popping up. Let's see if I can get another piece of gold before I'm gonna make more money buying during the stream than I will from the stream. All right. Let's see if we got another piece of gold here. All right, looks like that one went through as well. I wonder what. Usually the bots pick this stuff up. I wonder if the bots just aren't awake today or what's going on. 14 karat Italy bracelet, 6.5 grams. Let's see, $455, and it sells for 528 on the market, on spot market right now. That's an 86% buy, so even better than the last one. So we've made how much? Maybe $70 in the last 10 minutes here. So I do this full time. I do this for a living. I do this every single day. You guys can see all the, some of the crap I have here in the office. I have tons and tons and tons storage units, all the stuff. We're planning on doing it real big next year. Lots of AI coming in, lots of software coming in, employees coming in, operating procedures coming in. Things are looking really, really good. We are getting into Pokemon, so definitely Pokemon, some toys, all this. I actually stood in line for these tins up here. So I'm trying to get into. There's other stuff too. I got Nike, Pokemon, and Lego. Those are some of the big ones that I'm trying to break into right now. I've never sold any of it commercially before. So I'm definitely learning how to do the market with all this stuff. I bought some Surging Sparks there. Trying to get into a little bit of buy and hold type of, just market timing on this type of stuff. The toys, I'm just basically getting pretty cheap, closeout toys, and then seeing how they might do on Walmart or on eBay. Some of them I can sell on Amazon. So yeah, we're just giving it all a try. Really starting to go very, 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 very big on my deals now, very uncomfortable for me, but I try and ask around and nobody's doing it. I'm like, "Hey, and what do you guys think of this deal? What do you think if I go buy 500 of these?" People are like, "I don't know, like 500? I don't know. I'd probably buy 50 or I'd buy 10 or whatever." And I'm like, "No, I want to go buy 500. I want to go buy everything in the country that's available of this stuff, like so that's a little bit of where I'm at, and I'm just going in blindfolded. I've never done some of this stuff. All I know is I know what a deal looks like. I know what a deal looks like. Okay. If I see something and it's like, let's pick whatever product you want, right? Let's say it's a lawnmower and the lawnmower is $40. To me, it's just a deal. And so it's just like it doesn't really matter how we're gonna sell it, where we're gonna sell it, like how we're gonna like whatever we're gonna do. It's a deal and we need to go buy the deal and then we'll figure it out later. And so far, that strategy works very well. So for those of you who have never gotten into this stuff and are wondering how to do it, just look for a good deal. If it's a deal and it's like, hey, this looks like kind of crazy, right? Like I just bought a whole bunch of Adidas shoes last night. Not a bunch of them. I bought a couple. I tried to buy more, but they canceled my orders. They let me buy a few. Same thing. Like you get order canceled, but these were Adidas shoes for $14, right? It's like how can you really go wrong when you're buying stuff? And this was from Adidas, like direct from the brand. No problem with supply chain, right? It's from the brand, and it was for $14. So it's like, how are you gonna go wrong with stuff like that? I've been buying some Nikes for like $30 from Nike. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you got to be a rocket scientist to figure out some of this stuff. I think like Surging Sparks is cheap. I think Phantasmal Flames, Pokemon stuff is kind of cheap right now. I bought a whole bunch of Black Friday Lego for 60% off or whatever. It's like I just look for deals and I figure out how to do it later. And then after I do it, then I go buy more, or then I learn, whatever. So don't be afraid to try things out. If you have any questions, anybody wants to talk to me, I am here. I do this full time every stinking day. Okay. So anybody wants to ask any questions, I'll talk your ear off. We can get on a Discord call, whatever. Let me know. I got affiliate links and whatever. So, if you guys just want to come talk to me for free, we can just talk for a while. And then if you want to start trying to do some of these things, which I know work because I literally use all the software that I use, we can get you signed up on software, stuff that I know that just prints money, literally, cheap, software that I use every day and make, verifiable profits from these things. So anyway, I'm not here to push anything, but I definitely do want to start building a community of people that, are really serious about this stuff. Really. No, like I'm not like if you're just thinking that this is going to be a weekend project or whatever, you're going to do 2 hours a week and make a bunch of money. There's no shot. You have no chance. I'll eat you alive. Like you don't have a chance. So if you're really committed to this to like make this your job or whatever, and you're committed to that kind of being a business owner and are willing to do any strategy, right? Facebook Marketplace, drop shipping, I don't know, real estate wholesaling, whatever it is. I don't really talk about that too much, but if you're in it to hustle for the rest of your life, I think we've got a good group of people that can really help um, mentor some people and create some millionaires. It's just really, really what I think is possible. I think I have the tools right now to make people millions, and I'll just tell you everything. So that's gonna be it for me today. I'm just gonna do this little video, and then I'm gonna sign off. Thank you guys. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go see if I can buy some more deals. That's what I need to do. So peace.